Day 39 speaks about the self, which is beyond all fears and worries, and how we to comprehend that which is beyond the human mind, or that which is not different from us. It goes like this. Lapave ati adareem ramaroopim bhayatita nischita ye saswarupim kadato janim pahatam hiti sena sada ekyato bhinna bhave vasena. Here he says, Sada aikyatho bhinna bhave vasena. So, here he says, being united with subject to duality is never possible. Sada, always, aikya, unity, though he, the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth, and each one of you should think that it is I, the Supreme, without the boundary of the body, mind, and intellect. Bhinna bhave, the attitudes of separateness, Vasena lives. So he lives without the attitude of separateness. Kadato jani pahatam hiti sena. Ever he amongst people seeking appears not. It is hardly noticed by people. Kada, ever, though he, the Supreme Personality, that is the capital I, the Self, Janim amongst people, Pahatahi, seeing, Direna, Disena, appears not. It shall not appear. It is hardly noticed or appeared to the people because it is being united with the subject. And here he says the nature. Bhayatita nishchita ye swaswarupi. The Saswarupi, the true real nature of the self, that is of the individual. Bhayatita nishchita, he is beyond bhaya, that is fear, and worries. He is free from all worries and beyond all fears. Why? Because there is no second thing. See, why do I fear? I fear because there's something else with which I am going to get harmed. Then there is fear. Why worry? There is something other than me which I may lose. I get worried. Here, it is united. Sada Aikyato. So it's one. When there is only one, why to fear? Lapavim ati adare ramarupi. So he says, hide within Rama most reverently. Samarupi in Ram's form, adare, respectfully, ati, with much. Lapavim, hide, you reside in Sri Ram. What a wonderful statement. He says, you take refuge in Sri Ram where there is no fear and worries. And then what happens? You stay always united with him. But it is hard to notice that in people. So now we should understand, why is it not possible? Why are we not in a position to notice the Saswarupa of the individual? What is the problem here? In fact, it's almost 40 days. But still we are not getting on to that Saswarupa of our true nature. It is being said in a number of occasions, Vyomavatu, that these and all we have studied, but still we are not getting. Why? Always understand that knowledge is of two types, prama and aprama. right? So the source of knowledge that we know happens under 6 conditions. There are 6 modes or 6 ways of gaining knowledge. That's called as pramana. This pramana is not the pramana svikarana that the politicians do. Here it says the source of knowledge. So now the source of knowledge happens under 6 ways. That is what we said now. So the first one is pratyaksha. So the pratyaksha knowledge is that which happens with a direct sensory organs. With the 5 senses, the knowledge that we gain is pratyaksha jnana. In a sense, the vision that happens, the objects that we see with the eyes, knowledge is taking place. You get to know the shape and color and dimension. Second, the sound that we hear and cognize and understand. Third, with smell that we get to know the types of smells. Fourth, the taste that we taste from the tongue. There are 6 types of taste that we have seen, ruchis. And the feel from the skin, the heat and cold or the sparsha. So these are pratyaksha pramana, means direct knowledge which happens through our sensory organs. With the help of the senses, we get to know. Right? The next one is one type of knowledge. There are certain things with which we infer. That's called as anumana. Anu means after, mana means knowledge. After having certain experience or inferences or observation or experiences, as we said, the knowledge that takes place is called as anumana. Here, there are 2 things. One is sadhya, other one is hetu. So, with the help of the hetu, we understand the sadhya, inference. That is based on our experience of the past. And how does it happen? It happens through a udharana, through an example. The best example that is generally given normally is, for example, you are going on a trek and in a far off place you see some smoke coming up. And with that hetu, the smoke, you understand that there is fire underneath. That is sadhya. Sadhya is proven with hetu. This happens with experience. Earlier, maybe in your house, you might have burned some old paper or leaves after in the autumn season. There's a lot of leaves that falls in the courtyard, front yard, backyard, and all. You sweep everything, put it in one corner. You allow it to dry. Once it dries, you put a matchstick. And once you put a matchstick, first you get fire. After some time, you see the smoke enveloping the whole fire. The fire is not visible, but you know that there is fire inside. Or if you are used for the daily havan, then if you are doing into that yajna karya or agni karya, then you know that Yagneshwara is inside. Though it is filled with smoke, Yagneshwara is inside. You take a small fan and you fan it, again prajvalite, again the fire gets ignited. You get to know. So with this anumana pramana, we understand, we gain knowledge. Next, the third type of knowledge is upamana, that is with resemblance or comparison we gain knowledge of name and things. The example that we give for this is, for example, there is a small child and you are explaining about a musical instrument. right? And then you see that there is a musical instrument called saxophone, which is an air instrument, U in shape, where it has 4 or 5 small piston like things on top with which they press and they pull and withdraw the pipe. You explain the saxophone. And maybe if possible you might show a two-dimensional colored picture of a saxophone in a book. Yes, that is good. And after some time, when the child goes for a musical concert and when he sees the stainless steel instrument in a hand of a musician playing this, then he understands this as this is the instrument which they have explained earlier, U-shaped one, stainless steel, blowing air, making sound. This is saxophone. You understand? These with upamana, with examples. There's other ways. In upamana, certain things to be taken to be living also. For example, you say, oh, he's a lion-like man. Example. Then you look at that man and you understand that a lion-like man, you have seen or you have known about lion earlier, that lion is the king of the forest, which is ferocious and has a majestical walk. Simha Avalochana, we say also in our language, that we'll explain some other occasion. So now looking at that, now you understand, okay, this person is a very brave, courageous man. He fears nothing. You take the quality of that and you put it here and you understand. This upamana with an example. Other example, moon-like face. And since so brilliant, so virtuous, so glowing. It doesn't mean to say that it will be like a white light. And today being the 12th, anniversary of light channel, yes. One will be radiant if a person looks at Ramana, Ramakrishna, Gurudev, or our revered Acharya-ji. You can see that radiance in them. So definitely we can say moon-like face in the sense, it doesn't mean to say it is white in color with great, no. It speaks about the radiance, the grace, the bliss. This upamana. So these are all the types of knowledges that we acquire. This is the third one. Fourth one is arthapatti. That is, with a postulate you understand. What do you mean by postulate? For example, just imagine that you see a person who is very, very active, awake, and tireless during the night. He is working very hard. Then you understand, all night he is working so enthusiastically, so energetically, and there's not even a single drop of drowsiness in him. It means, therefore, he might have slept during the day. So all day he might have slept and he has come fresh. One way of inferring. Or early morning 5 o'clock there is a Vedic class, and in a Vedic chanting you keep yarning. Then you understand, oh, he is yarning now, he is getting sleep. That says at night he didn't have good sleep. We infer based on the present situation, we try to understand. These are the examples, postulates one. Or you see a man, Navaratri is 9 days of fasting, but there is no tiredness, he is still the same. Then you understand, okay, he is fasting during the day, but in the night he is drinking a lot of milk and dry fruits. I know a person, Navaratri, they do a lot of pujas, this educationalist. He says he is fasting. Oh, night after the arati, every night if you see, a bucket of Panchamrita they drink. So you understand with this. He is fit like a fiddle and strong. He is not growing weak, but still is energetic. That says he is eating during the day or during the night. Sometime else where we are not seeing, he is eating. The fifth one is Anupalabdhi, knowledge of the absence, non-apprehensiveness. Today morning we had a Vedic chanting class. And Vedic chanting class, you see that two members are not there. So knowledge of the absence. They are not there. That is also, I don't know this. That is also a knowledge. Anupalabdhi means not present. And the sixth and the final one is Shabda Pramana. So all these Vedic things we go through Shabda Pramana, that is verbal. In other words, also called as Aptavakya, the sayings of the dear ones, where we gain knowledge. Here, the saying of the dear ones, it goes under, for example, you are on a trek and you find a small stream there, you want to cross that. Then what do? You don't know how deep it is, then you ask a close by a localate, hey, can I cross across? Then he said, don't worry, it is shallow, it is not deep, you go. Then we cross. So here, Shabda Pramana, verbal of Apta Vakya, in a sense, the person who is dear is a person who has that knowledge thoroughly. The person who is dear to you, who doesn't misguide you or take you in a wrong direction. Agama, also it is called as. Such words or such people's words we take into consideration. Again, here in Shabda Pramana, verbal, Apta Vakya, Agama, there are four sub criteria for us to understand. One is Akanksha, means it should be complete. It can't be like a SMS language, a telegraphic language. In earlier days, we had something called telegrams where we used to send message. It should be a complete, meaningful vakya sentence. That is called as ananksha. Means there should not be any ambiguity or doubt. A person says something, if you have a doubt in that, if you don't understand that, then it's of no use. Therefore, in Shabda, Akanksha is very important. Means the complete sense has to be explained perfectly. Next, Yoga Yukta means non-contradictory statements. Non-contradictory means we should not contradict our own statement. For example, look at the bright new moon. New moon means Amavasya. Bright new moon. How can a new moon be bright? Contradictory. He is a notoriously a good child. Notorious is one thing, good is. Water the plants with fire. If you water the plant with fire, what will happen? Understanding? So it should be non-contradictory statements. It should be straight. It should give a complete sense. It should be non-contradictory. Next, Sannidhi means here it is closer to Akanksha. Sannidhi is the proximity of words. There should not be gap between the question and answer. That says there is some suspicion, doubt. You are not perfect. Answer should be spontaneous. And when you're saying also, it should go in one stroke. Uh, how is that child performing? Oh, that child. Hmm. Okay. He's doing fine. If you say like this, that says he's not doing fine. There's some contradiction there. And then the fourth one, which is very important, is tatparya. It should be understood as it has to be understood, not in some other style or not as you feel. What the speaker is trying to say, that has to be understood as the speaker wants it to be understood. The intention to be considered. Tatparya means intention to be considered. For example, you say, he is a close friend of mine. So, CLO is a close friend of mine. Close in the sense very near and dear. The other meaning is, close means to shut the door, close the door. Then you should not understand that friend has shut his door towards him. No, no, no. He is a close friend of mine. Close here means dear and near. That close, you should take the meaning of that close in the right sense as the speaker or the author is trying to say. I can't bear him anymore. Here, endurance. The other thing is an animal. We should take the right sense. So here all the Shastras or this comes under Shabda Pramana. Aptavakya. Who is Aptavakya? Who is dear to us? Brahmavid Brahmena Bhavati, the Brahmagyani, the Shastras, the Puranas, and your Acharyas. They are your near and dear ones. Therefore, we are supposed to consider their words as ultimate. With that, we should understand. When he says Tat Tvam Asi, you are that. You, the limited self, that is the same as the magnificent self. Then we should understand what he is trying to convey with that. What are the things in me and in him common there? Tatparyam has to be understood. Oh, we should remove the body, the mind, and the intellect in its small, limited form and see the small I and the capital I as one. That is how it goes. The same thing happens here. When that is the reason why we are not in a position to understand, because it is not different from us. When he says Sri Ram is not different from you, then you should take Tatparya or not. Sri Ram was in Treta Yuga. I am here in Kali Yuga. Sri Ram is son of Dasharatha. I am son of so. How can we both be one? Understand that the spirit or the self in Sri Ram and the spirit and the self in you are one and the same. There are no two entities at all. In that case, if you just understand that there is only one entity, then there is no fear and worry. That says you have become Sri Ram and you have taken refuge in him because you and he are one. Tatvamasi. Understood? Today being the International Light Channel anniversary, the 12th anniversary, let the light spread through you to the universe. As the saying goes, Tamasomat Jyotirgamaya. So all of you try to absorb the cosmic light within and through you spread it all across the universe. And let there be only light, light and light. Just keep singing, I am walking in the light, in the light, in the light of God. So you are walking in the light and you become light. Once you become light, you become light also with respect to weight of the Shed Vikaras. With this, we conclude here. Thanks for being with.